Hey guys, we are going to continue practice sheet number 20. So we're going to do number 6 together. We were definitely struggling on some of this in the test. It says write the equation of the line for the table shown below. So at this point, here's what I expect of you. I expect that you know our basic equation is either y equals k, x, or y equals mx plus b. That is something I expect that you know right now. If you do not know this, I need you to take this in. This one is proportional. This one is linear non-proportional. Okay? So remember, we always start with delta y over delta x. We start with our constant rate of change. Okay? So we find our change in y. Most of y'all are getting that. And we're going up each time by 5. Right? So I put 5 on top. Even though it's down, we put it up. A few of you are still making that mistake. Then over here, these each change by 1. So 5 over 1. And if you remember, we said this is always m and it's sometimes k. So in order to figure out if it's k, we have to see if the table goes through 0, 0. You need 2 reasons for it to be k, which means it will be proportional. Okay, k is the constant of proportionality. So I'm going to take my table back. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And here, each time we are going back by 5. So 3, take away 5. One thing I know is when I take away 5, I am not going to get 0. Okay? So 3, take away 5. Hopefully you also know I cannot take away 5 from 3, at least in our positive, so it's going to end up being a negative 2. Okay? 3, go backwards 5, we get to negative 2. Okay? So one thing I know, this is not kx, y equals kx. Okay? What we do know is that since this does not go 0, 0 through 0, 0, it goes through 0, negative 2. This is b. Okay? So for b, I put minus 2. Okay? Or you could put plus a negative, it's just not how I do it. Now basically everything else, y, here's n, 5 over 1, or just 5. I would normally put just 5, but 5 over 1 is fine. Don't forget to put the x. Okay, make sure you put the x. Okay? And there is our equation. So it will be linear, but it's not proportional. It will go through right here. Okay? Okay. Number 7 says the amount of a show. The amount, it should say, I have to fix this too, the amount of shore at a local beach changed by negative 3/4 foot each year. So when it says the amount of shore, I'm thinking like the sand on the beach. So they're losing some sand and maybe the water's taking over 3/4 of a foot each year. What is the change in the amount of, I cannot type, I should have proofread this, shore after 7 years. Here we go. Okay. Make sure you underline 7. It's one of those things you will miss if you're not careful. So if you think about this, I'm changing negative 3/4 each year. So that would be 1 year. Then I would also add to it another 3/4. And then another 3/4. And I would do this 7 times, correct? I lose this much, then I lose this much, then I lose this much, okay? So instead of doing that, we're going to do negative 3/4 times 7, okay? The amount of change is going to be a negative, because negative times positive is a negative, or we need a number representing the loss, okay? So the number to represent a loss is going to be a negative. No keep change flip, no relationships here. 3 times 7, 21. 4 times 1, 4. Since this is improper, 21 divided by 4 goes 5 times, 21 over 4. So equals negative 5 and 1/4. Okay? I'm going to put a box so I see my answer. Okay? Okay, number 8, it says write in simplest form. Easy. What can you divide the top and bottom by? And that'll give you your answer. Okay? Number 9, name your angle pairs. So remember, you can use your notes on this. One thing I know is I see a right angle sign. This is not a right angle, so to speak, because there's 2. I see a right angle, but because there's 2, it has a special name. So make sure you find that. And you can tell it's 90, so hopefully you remember the end point is 90. Now, I add these together. I can put 15 plus 4x plus 3, or I can put 4x plus 3 plus 15 and solve this. But please make sure you solve this. Sorry, I wasn't showing that, but this right here means it's 90 degrees together for both angles. Okay, so put a line here so you remember to write the name of the angle pair. If you forgot what it is, look back in the blank journal notes. There's one that says like angle notes or something, and you can use that. So number 10 says circle the numbers that are integers. So integers are all of your whole numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, and their negatives. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and circle this one. But what we don't have is we don't have fractions, we don't have decimals. Okay, I mean, they can try to trick you. They could say something like 4 over 1, and that would be an integer because 4 divided by 1 is 4. But generally, we're not looking for fractions or decimals. Okay. If you want another hint, I will let you know there are 3 total answers on number 10. Okay. And number 11, solve and write answer in simplest form. Do not change this to a decimal. This is repeating, so do not change this to a decimal. Texas, Texas. Okay, because we do not find an LCD. You do not find an LCD when you're multiplying and dividing. You find an LCD, or at least common denominator, when you add and subtract. 7 times 5 is 35, plus 1 is 36 over 7. Divide by 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, over 5. And then we do keep, change, flip. Okay. Now from this point, you want to look for a relationship. There is a relationship here, guys. Both of these will divide by several numbers. They both divide by 2, they both divide by 3, they both divide by 4, they both divide by 6. Most importantly, they both divide by 12. So think of what you get when you divide this by 12, what do you get when you divide this by 12, and finish up your problems.